Hello, everybody. On this week's show, meet HaLow, the Wi-Fi industry's brand new standard for connecting billions of things to the internet. My guest today is Kevin Robinson, VP of Marketing for the Wi-Fi Alliance. I'm Claus Hetting, and this is Wi-Fi Now TV. Join me right after this short message. Right, everybody, welcome back. We're going to get to Kevin Robinson of the Wi-Fi Alliance, my guest today. We're going to talk about HaLow in just a moment. Before we go ahead and do that, don't forget that we're taking Wi-Fi Now, the conference, to Washington, D.C. this coming April 19th to 21st. It will be the most comprehensive update on all things Wi-Fi assembled in America. I guarantee you that. And of course, a great opportunity for all of you out there to network with all the great folks from across the Wi-Fi industry. By the way, we're also endorsed by the Wi-Fi Alliance. Thank you, Kevin Robinson and team, for that. Now, go to our website, wifinowevents.com/USA, and to check out the program, of course. And if you have any questions whatsoever, drop me a line at klaus@wifinowevents.com. Don't forget to mark your calendars. The dates are April 19th to 21st, and it is going to be in the great city of Washington, D.C. Now, I am delighted to welcome my guest this week, Kevin Robinson. He is VP of Marketing for the Wi-Fi Alliance. Kevin, great to see you, and thanks for coming on.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Kevin, we're going to talk about HaLow. You guys announced, meaning the Wi-Fi Alliance announced HaLow, I think it was about a month ago, if I remember correctly. What is HaLow? Can you give us the brief rundown to start us off?
Absolutely. Wi-Fi HaLow is a new type of Wi-Fi, and it brings low power, long range connectivity to the Wi-Fi portfolio. So imagine in many of these Internet of Things scenarios where you may have something like a sensor that you're trying to deploy it, maybe it's in your basement, maybe it's even out on your driveway or at the far reaches of your yard next to a pool pump or something. And Wi-Fi HaLow is going to allow you to get that connectivity.
And Kevin, tell us a little bit about how you see HaLow as a technology with respect to other IoT standards, because there's a lot of standards happening in IoT, tremendous amount of activity.
No, absolutely. And this entire concept of IoT, it's a huge concept. And there are going to be many technologies that play a role in the IoT. Of course, even one of those is traditional Wi-Fi today, right? Wi-Fi, as you have it today, is going to play even a great role. But what HaLow brings is something unique. And it really extends on those capabilities that you already get from Wi-Fi, again, for that low power, long range connectivity. And it's not just long range in a theoretical sense, but it's real world long range where you're dealing with obstructions and obstacles in your home or beyond. And HaLow works very well in those types of situations.
So we're not really talking about a competitor as such. The positioning of HaLow is in some ways independent and a complement to many other things out there. Is that how you view it?
Well, it's certainly a complement to Wi-Fi. We've already talked about some of what differentiates HaLow from Wi-Fi that you have today. That longer range connectivity, about twice the range that you would get with Wi-Fi, and even in some cases approaching 1 kilometer of range. So really a very nice complement to what you have with Wi-Fi today. But what's equally important is what Wi-Fi HaLow brings that is the same as Wi-Fi today. And those are things like native IP connectivity. So that these devices can connect directly to the internet on their own. WPA2 security, so the same security that people have come to trust in Wi-Fi, that's available in Wi-Fi HaLow. And because you have the great, the well-established Wi-Fi ecosystem and interoperability testing, people are going to get that same great user experience that they get from Wi-Fi today. And it's hard to underestimate that point with IoT, when you're getting into these new types of devices, people have to feel comfortable bringing that technology into their homes.
Right, and let's talk a little bit about the band in question here, because the HaLow standard works in the 900 megahertz band. Now, a couple of issues around that. First of all, I've had some friends here in Europe when I started writing about it. They were all excited. Oh, we're going to get this.
Mhm.
And of course, as of now, at least it does not apply to Europe because that band is not available in Europe. Do you have some comment to that? Is that going to be a big advantage, or how do you see that?
So absolutely, in the United States,
Disadvantage.
right, and absolutely in the United States, Wi-Fi Halo is going to operate in the 900 and 928 megahertz band. Though there are other bands that Halo can operate in, so ranging from the 700s, 800s into 900. So depending on the region, the frequencies will differ slightly. But the great thing with Wi-Fi Halo is the channel widths are relatively small. So even in areas where there's only a small amount of bandwidth or spectrum available, those Halo channels can operate in that unlicensed spectrum around the world.
And right, and the benefit, of course, of 900 megahertz is that that band is naturally going to be longer range than what we've seen before from Wi-Fi 2.4 and 5 gig, right?
Absolutely, getting longer range, but also that ability to deal with obstacles. So imagine you're in brick construction or poured concrete construction. That's a challenging RF environment, and operating in that 900 megahertz range gives you those good propagation characteristics.
Right. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the specific of the performance. There has been a few comments on the internet in various places about the power consumption, because very low power consumption is going to be expected of any technology that is going to be applied to IoT, of course, because devices, thousands of devices, presumably can lay dormant for a while and only need to be woken up occasionally to send data. And there's multiple use cases that will need that kind of low power consumption. Can you comment on how you think Halo fits that bill? Do you have any data to back that up, Kevin?
Well, Wi-Fi Halo compares very favorably to other technologies that bill themselves as low power. With Wi-Fi Halo, vendors are going to be able to create devices that operate for months, weeks, and even years on a single battery. So absolutely, capable and well suited to those challenging cases like sensors, the types of things you bring up.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of the range, I know we mentioned this already a couple of times. I saw one reference to a range of 1 kilometer. There was no reference to any tests or anything. And the official statement, I think, is twice the range of Wi-Fi. Is it going to be between a couple of 100 feet and up to maybe 2,000-3,000 feet? Is that the right range?
Mm-hmm. So the technology is very flexible. I should say it's very dynamic. It can do a lot of different things depending on the particular configuration parameters. And you're absolutely right. There is a special mode of Wi-Fi Halo that gets you ranges approaching 1 kilometer. That was part of the design, the design of this technology. Mm-hmm. But in most cases, in most usages, you're talking roughly twice the range of Wi-Fi. Hundreds of meters and beyond type of range. That's what you're normally looking at.
So are you mostly positioning this as an in-home IoT play, or I suppose you're just talking right now just before about the longer range could be applied for smart cities and things like that.
Absolutely, it's early on. You'll certainly see this in the smart home, but it's not just the home. I mean, people's homes, particularly in the U.S., when you have your yards and everything, it's not just the confines of your walls. It's you want connectivity on your driveway for motion sensors. You want to talk to that pool pump. You want to talk to maybe sprinkler valves, something like that. And Wi-Fi Halo kind of extends that range and provides that coverage into those outlying areas. But not only that, Wi-Fi Halo is also going to find its way into more industrial IoT use cases as well, where you have facility deployments, same type of thing, sensors that are much greater ranges than what you have in your home. And not only that, much more dense. And that's one of the things that we didn't talk about yet with Halo, is the ability to have thousands of these client devices attached to a single AP.
Well, see, this is the thing, and that was my point number 3 on my list here is,
Oh, good.
I was going to get to that. So the number of devices, and yeah, you say thousands of devices connected to a single access point?
Absolutely, thousands of clients per access point. So again, allowing very, very dense deployments, and it eliminates the need to have a large number of access points to cover that larger range. So again, think of a facility with with outdoor sensors or anything like that. Even bleeding into agricultural use cases where you don't want to have to deploy a large number of sensors with the backhaul that's then necessary to get that connectivity.
Yeah, well, that's, as far as I know, nothing else out there does that. I'm not a super IoT expert, but that I think is a brilliant a figure if we're really talking thousands in this case, right? So, but how do you see the use cases for HaLow evolving? And actually, here's the thing I really want to touch on, because this is what I think is brilliant. Do you imagine 2.4 regular Wi-Fi, so to speak, AC and so forth? 2.4, 5 gigahertz, maybe WiGig, and HaLow coexisting in some form in the same type of access point and client, perhaps?
Absolutely. Certainly on the access point side, you're going to see multi-band clients with 2.4, 5, as well as 900 megahertz with HaLow. And that's, in many cases, that's how users are first going to get this experience, is through upgrading their access points. Depending on the client, some clients will want multi-band capabilities, but there are many clients. Think of these sensors that have very very constrained power profiles. They will most likely only incorporate Wi-Fi HaLow. Now, some of the interesting ways that you may see this roll out is in a case where, let's use the example of a sprinkler system in your home, where the valves maybe only have Wi-Fi HaLow. But then the sprinkler controller itself is both traditional Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi HaLow. So part of that system is in itself its own gateway and is providing that ability to bring these valves directly into directly onto your home network.
It's fantastic. The perspectives are really exciting with this, I think, and we want to get this to market as soon as we can. Can you give us an update on what the status is? I understand the certification program by the Wi-Fi Alliance has begun. Is that correct?
No, the certification program will the first thing we were doing is we were announcing the name Wi-Fi HaLow. Okay. And that's for a very important reason. It's not simply a marketing reason. It is that users, as this technology starts coming to market, people need to understand whether these products are going to work together. And it was important to have a single term, Wi-Fi HaLow, that the entire industry is using to describe this technology.
Okay.
Today, people know to ask for Wi-Fi. And similarly, you need some kind of common name that everyone's using. The certification program is going to be available in 2018. And while it seems like some time off, you can fully expect to start seeing devices coming to market probably later in 2016.
Okay. So we're not that far out. So we're talking later this year, next year, that we'll start seeing the first devices. And what do you think the first devices are going to look like? Do you have some ideas?
One of the great things with IoT is many of the exciting applications are things that people have not really thought of, or that are not that obvious. But certainly sensor type devices, ones that really require that low power, the ability to go months and years on a charge, but also having that robust connectivity to all the nooks and corners of your home. Those will be the most likely the early applications.
Well, Kevin, we're really looking forward to that. I think it's a super exciting time for the Wi-Fi industry, not just with HaLow, but also with, of course, WiGig and so on. And it's great to have you on the show. We want you to come back and tell us more when it's a little bit more off the ground. And I'm sure we've got lots of exciting things to expect. Thank you so much, Kevin Robinson, for coming on the show, and have a great one, and have a great trip to Barcelona, by the way.
It was my pleasure. You have a safe trip as well.
All right, thanks. All right, thank you to my guest. That's it for this week's interview. I just want to mention what we're going to be doing next week. I will be interviewing one of my favorite startups in the Wi-Fi space. The company is called Ragapa, and they've developed super flexible technology for monetizing Wi-Fi. We'll talk more with them. We'll talk about them and interview them next week on Wi-Fi Now TV. I'll see you next week, same place, same time. Stay well, everybody, and have a great one.
Wi-Fi Now is a production of RCR TV News. To suggest a show topic or to learn more about Wi-Fi Now events, you can reach Claus Hetting at klaus@hettingconsulting.com. To find out more about Wi-Fi Now and all things wireless, visit rcrwireless.com.